How we doing, y'all? Okay, let's try it again. How we doing, y'all? Hey, look at there. Y'all know you got to bring that energy when you come in here with me. Hey, listen, thanks for coming today. Really appreciate everybody being here. Obviously, it's an exciting day for people all over the country, and obviously for us as well. We're delighted to announce the addition of several new players to our roster today. It's been a long time coming with regard to all the work that's been put in by a number of different folks. But before we get started with that, I want to take just a second to wish good luck to several Jayhawks that are going to be taking part in Super Bowl 50 this weekend. I think we've got two players that happen to be on the back of that wall back there, Chris Harris and Aqib Talib. Want to wish those guys the best of luck. We've got a couple of staff members that work inside the office there with the Denver Broncos, and also with Cam's group over there. I'm kind of partial to the Broncos right now because one of our coaches, Coach Kubiak, his dad is the head coach there, and I want to wish Coach Kubiak and his staff a lot of luck here as well. So it should be a great game, and I'm excited for our Jayhawks there. They've represented us well in all their areas. We've got a strength coach over there that coaches for the Jayhawks or for the Broncos as well. So wishing you guys great luck this week. Listen, like I said, there's 19 new additions, and we're really excited about this class. But before we get into that, I just want to say thanks to a number of different people that are responsible for the work that went into making this happen. Number one, our coaches. They worked their tails off from the time that we got here last year. So doing what they've done, developing relationships with these guys and their parents and their families. And I've kept them away from their families a lot, and they have really done a nice job. I'm really proud of those guys. They've really worked hard. They do not get enough credit for this type of stuff. Our recruiting department's done a really, really nice job. Tyler Oker, Catherine Carmichael, who's a former volleyball great here, those two have been great for our program. They've done really wonders for what we've asked them to do. Also, our travel people have been phenomenal. The pilots that man our plane, they have drugged me from one end of the country to the other, and they have just dealt with me and me changing my plans every second on the fly, and they've been phenomenal, keeping us safe, even though we were doing some sideways slide-ins every now and then down there in California. It was fun. Those guys were really good. All the different people in administration that have helped us and supported us along the way, because this thing is a team effort, and it certainly cannot happen with just coaches and people inside our building. It has to do with the commitment of our administration. So thank you for that. I want to just say how excited I am about this class. We continue to go and build this team the same way that we said we were going to build it when we got here last year. We said that there's a lot of things that we had to address. We had to address our talent level. The better you get talent-wise, the better you get as a team. And we control that by making sure we go out and we find the right guys. A couple of the things that we're doing is we're trying to improve that overall team profile to where we actually match the league in terms of the way that we look, in terms of the way that we present ourselves from a height and weight standpoint and strength standpoint. In order to do that, you got to go out and recruit guys that fit that mold. We need to add length and speed. We talked about that last year. We started that with the class of 24 last year, and we certainly did that. A lot of those guys got a lot of playing time last year. And then we've certainly done the same thing here. There's been an emphasis on strength and speed because this league is built on that. We were looking for tough, athletic guys that fit the Kansas way. And we said that last year at this time, and we echo the same thing. Things have not changed. The plan will remain the same. And the goal is still in place, and we're excited about the future moving forward. This is a great day for a lot of these kids and kids throughout the country. We've had some relationships with guys that we've had for some of us for 2 or 3 years, even when we were at other places. And some of them today we're parting ways, and we will be their fans every week but one, and we'll see them after the game. That happens week to week, but that's why they call it recruiting and not signing. You got to go out there and you got to finish the job, and we were fortunate. We were able to close the deal relationship-wise with just about everybody that we felt like fit the mold of what we were looking for, so that's good. Your signing day information sheets kind of gives you a little bit more background on these guys, but Today gives me a chance to kind of give you a little bit more of a visual look at these guys for the first time. We had a lot of needs coming into this class, and we continue to address those needs even when we have some challenging issues with the numbers that we have presented with us. You can do one of two things about challenges. You can just accept the way that things are, or you can work to change them, and that's what we've been working hard to do. And I'll tell you, I got to take my hat off. It's not just our coaches, it's our administration, our compliance staff. Everybody has done such a nice job of making sure that we stay right on the beaten path to helping us get to where we need to be. And we're going to continue to do that, to keep building it like we need it. I'm going to step around here just a second as I introduce to you our class and our new signees and additions to this class. So as I can watch it with you, I kind of like watching it too. I can kind of talk a little bit better as I'm watching it. So let me turn this around. And if you can't hear me, you guys just let me know. All right, lots of different areas that we were addressing in this class. You're going to see quite a few O-linemen, which we need to continue to get better up front, offensively and defensively. One of the things that we really have talked about is, this league, if you look at the teams that are winning it and really across the country, they dominate up front. So we have got to continue to upgrade our talent level in that area, and that's been a focus. So you're going to see a lot of O-linemen on here. You'll see a lot of D-linemen on here, linebackers, and really we need everything. But those were really areas of focus, and mainly because that's where the numbers said we were this year. So with that being said, let's take a look at some of our guys in this class. All right, Shola Allende. Shola is a guy that was part of our class last year. He moved forward in a gray shirt, injured his shoulder, set out the first semester, and he's already here. So he's been here since January. Looks great. He's gained about 15 pounds. He's about 185, 190 pounds right now. Was a great player last year at George Ranch High School. Has that profile we're looking for. Long arm guy, can really run. Guy had lots of accolades last year in this class. His high school actually last year advanced pretty far in the playoffs. They actually won the 6A small school this year in the state of Texas. So he comes from a winning program, which is important for us. We wanted to add kids to this team that understand and know winning. So this shows Shola and just some of the things that he can do for us. He's a long guy, has the ability to press and play press coverage, which you got to be able to do nowadays if you're going to get pressure on people. It shows him transitioning in and out of back pedal, does a good job with ball skills in the air. He's a guy that we really are excited about because he's already here and we get to start utilizing him in this next class. Really good player, comes, like I said, from a really good program, knows how to win and has been around winning and knows how to make plays for us. He's a guy that really, we talked about him a little bit last year and unfortunately he hurt his shoulder, and really it's a win-win for him. He didn't lose a year. His clock is starting now, and he just gets to start in this class. All right, this next kid is a defensive end out of Summer Creek High School in Houston, Texas. We've been on this kid for a long time. One of the things that I really like about this guy is he plays DN. He's 6'5", 210, 215 pounds. And he has got a great frame. He's got a lot of upside about this guy. This guy played offense for the longest. As a junior, he played quarterback. All right? So what we've done is we've been able to take a guy, and they played him his whole senior year at defensive end. I love the guy's wingspan. As you can see this guy take off and you see him make these tackles, one of the things that always sticks out to me is the length this guy has on him. We had a real need for pass rush. We lost Ben Goodman, who was a big pass rush guy for us. We're looking for even more dynamic than that. We need guys that are long, that are fast. He played on the offensive side of the ball. I'm not going to rule out the fact that we may not hand him the ball or throw it to him a couple times because this guy can do it on both sides. Long, good-looking athlete with a great frame out of Summer Creek. Coach Ford does a great job down there. Next guy, Keegan Brewer, is a little receiver out of Lake Dallas, Texas. And he looks little, but he's a 5'11" guy. This guy kind of reminds me a little bit of that Cole Beasley type guy. This kid helped his team go to the state semifinals this year. The most productive receiver in the Dallas-Fort Worth area this year. This guy's a talented guy. He's quick. He's got great instincts, moves around well, really quick, does a great job with ball skills. One of the most decorated guys that we have. 5A All-State, second team, 6-5A unanimous All-District or District MVP. This guy was up for the LaDainian Tomlinson Award last week down in Dallas. when you see this guy, you're not going to look at him and think that he's a Division I football player. But, man, when he puts them pads on, he turns into something special. I like this kid a lot, man. Loves football, really talented player, and plays in one of the toughest districts there in Texas, up there in that North Texas area. Every week that he lines up, he's playing against some of the best players in the state of Texas. Guy understands how to run routes. He knows how to make contested plays, which is something that you don't see a lot of. He can do things at the line of scrimmage, breaking people down with release skills that I just don't see a lot at the high school level until they develop it at the college level. So I like this kid a lot. Really, really good kid. Knew about him, but really didn't know as much about him until I met his buddy, Dagan Hain, down there, and he told me about him. So it was a really good deal that we were able to get that kid here, and he's already here. He's already working out. Excited about him. Next kid, another long, good-looking, long-levered guy out of Hightower High School down there in Houston, Texas, a place that continues to produce talent year in and year out. This guy was an all-district guy down there in a very tough district to be all-district. Some places that could be all-state because of how much talent there is down there. This guy is a long man coverage guy that can do a lot of different things for us. He's played on the offensive side before, but he can be a dynamic return guy for us in the punt return game. Those guys are not as easy to find as kickoff return guys. Some of those guys, they got to work their way into it. This guy's kind of natural at that. Does a good job transitioning out of his back pedal. Has a nose for the ball and instincts. One of the top PBU guys in all of the state of Texas last year, which is something I really look for because, INTs can be deceiving at times. How many times are you breaking up passes is something big for me, particularly at corner in high school. All right, another guy we're really excited about. This is a guy that's already on campus as well, DeIsaac Davis, a big defensive tackle. He comes to us from Highland Community College. But he's right down the street from us is where he dons from in Wichita, Kansas. He's a 6'3", 290 pounds is being very, very generous to this guy. He's probably about 350, 320 right now. He is a big dude. And this guy is quick now. He's quick off the ball, and he can be disruptive in the middle. And we really do need that. I like the long arms on this guy. I like the big lowers about him. This guy's got some strength in his lower half. He does a nice job. You'll see a play here in just a second where he engages a guard and he'll shed him, gets off and makes a tackle. You just don't see that happen very much. He can use quickness to get to the ball or he can use strength. This is a good look at it right here. He engages a guy, throws him off, makes a play right there. Those are not things you see from those big guys very often. I really like this guy. Very instinctual, very intelligent, Kansas guy. Like him a lot. Glad to have him back home. Cam Durley. Cam Durley's another big dude that was originally kind of in our last class last year, and we were able to gray shirt him and move him forward. If you look at him now, he looks nothing like that picture. I mean, this 6 months did him good now. This guy's about 295 pounds right now. He don't have much fat on him. He is a good-looking dude. Big-time basketball player in high school. Played 1 year of high school football, really. Okay? He lettered 2 years, but he only really got to play one, to be honest with you, his senior year. Didn't know much about it. Those guys down at Houston Christian High School did a heck of a job with him. Max Bowman coached in the NFL for a long time. Good friends with Kenny Perry, turned us on to this guy. And this guy's going to turn out to be a really, really good find for us. He's here on campus now. I saw him working out yesterday. Guy can get under some weight and push it. Very athletic. Comes from a very athletic family. His brother played basketball at TCU. Been around a lot of good players in his life. He actually played basketball, if I'm not mistaken, up north with one of our guys. I can't remember which one it is. But he's played high-level basketball before. All right, so he's a very athletic guy. If you're talking about tackles and a guy that can play basketball as an old lineman, usually those guys turn out working out because they got good feet. You can see them run in these pictures here. It shows how fast these guys are and how agile he is. I really like this Cam Durley kid. He really doesn't know what he doesn't know yet. So once Zach Inzer gets a hold of him and teaches him a little bit more about what the position entails, I look for this guy's upside to be great. All right, Evan Fair. Evan Fair is a receiver out of Houston, Texas. Another guy that comes from right down there just on the border of Katy and Fulshire, out of Foster High School. His dad was a NFL linebacker, played for the Atlanta Falcons for a long time. Actually played alongside our brand new receiver coach here, Jason Phillips, in the Atlanta Falcons organization for a while. So he comes from good stock. His sister's a pro volleyball player over in Sweden. His mom was a great athlete coming out of high school and in college. This guy comes from great genes. He is a good-looking 6'3". He's probably 195 pounds right now. He is a good-looking, big, long guy who can separate and run. Gives us some profile out there on the edge. Kind of goes along with that Booker guy that we signed last year. But this guy probably runs a little bit better than Book. This guy's got some speed. Thing I really like about this guy is he goes up and gets the ball. He extends his arms. He catches the ball away from his body. He's got really good ball skills. As you can see, he's decorated. 2-star status by Rivals, which is probably under-recruited. I don't care about all that crap, but I will say this. He's a good player. 2015, 24-5A offensive MVP, which is hard to do in that district. That's almost impossible to do from a receiver standpoint. Great player. All-district dude. Guys made some plays for these guys down here. They got another guy that was highly recruited there, and I think we may have gotten just as good a guy, if not better. You see him go up and make plays down there, extend his hands away from his body. Reminds me a little bit of a guy named Briscoe that we had here in terms of his length, ability to get away from people. You don't see a lot of those tall guys be able to kind of turn over and get out like he got out on that play right there. Most of the time they get caught underneath themselves and their stiffness prevents them from doing things like that. Strong guy, long levers. Like I said, comes from great genes, great family. Eric Fairs, his mom, Charlotte, they're just great folks. We had them here last week. Really glad this guy's a Jayhawk. He can really help us. All right, Anton Frazier or Antoine Frazier or Anthony. He goes by about 19 names, all right? So we go by Antoine if you ask him, but great kid now, all right? His mom calls him Anton. His mom also calls him Anthony and his middle name when he gets in trouble. But great mother from down in Houston, Texas. We almost recruited her. She's got bigger arms than most of our players. She is jacked up. Good-looking family here, though. 6'5", 250-pound kid. Just to give you some perspective, last year we had a kid come in here that played right tackle for us. Larry Hughes. He was about 6'6" and a half, 260. He's 300 pounds now. So we like these guys that are athletic like this, and they can put 30, 40 pounds on like that and be a really good player for us. Highly recruited guy out of there. This guy comes out of Chase Harrell's High School. Committed to us a year ago. Had a lot of people coming in on him, and he stayed with us. Just like a lot of the people in this class, they stayed with us, even though at the very end, Baylor, a bunch of other teams around the state were coming after these guys. These guys developed a bond and stayed together. Anton, Antoine, Anthony, whatever you want to call him, he was kind of one of the leaders of that deal. Kind of a raw guy. We really have high hopes. He's a basketball player again. One of those guys that's very athletic, doesn't know how strong he is, and really doesn't know what he doesn't know yet. Coach Mack does a great job down there at Huffman Hargrave. We'll keep trying to get as many guys out of that area as we can. Those guys all work their tails off, and they do what we ask them to do. I love this kid. He's going to be a great addition for us. I think this guy's got a tremendous upside, along with the rest of the guys in our class. You don't see many offensive tackles dunking in the basketball game, but, we've actually got footage of this guy, and this shows how quick he is. I mean, he's chasing down a so-called smaller guy, to go save a touchdown. So it shows you how athletic the guy is for an offensive tackle. Those 250 guys turn into 300 guys in a year and a half, particularly after Coach Jackson gets a hold of them. All right, Dagan Hayden. This is the quarterback for Keegan Brewer out of Lake Dallas High School. We've had our eye on him for a long time. This kid unfortunately got hurt in the state semifinal game. They were down 28-0, and he brought them all the way back. Him and Keegan both were big parts of that, and he tore his ACL with about a quarter left to go in that game. He played the rest of the way, and they lost by 7 in overtime. It was an unbelievable game. This guy is a battling warrior. I've had my eye on him since we got here last year. Actually looked at him before I got here when we were at A&M because he can run. He's already here. Already on campus, already rehabbing, already working towards trying to get himself back into the fold. Probably one of our more decorated guys that we have. Class 6-5A All-District First Team, Scout DFW First Team quarterback. I mean, this guy was kind of a big deal when it comes to breaking records up there. Did a great job at a great school that's had pretty good success, but I would argue he may be one of the most successful guys to come out of there here in the recent past. I'm excited about him being here. Guy can throw it. And he can run it, excuse me. A really good leader. You know, as our guys have gotten to go see him develop over the last few years in the spring, and then getting to watch him play down there in Jerry's world in that game where he brought them back. It was really, really cool to watch this guy lead that team back. He just got a little poise to him that you don't see a lot of guys have. Has a nice touch. Got through for gobs and gobs of yards. I don't even know how many. I know it was a bunch. But he can throw. Let's see. He threw for 2,318 passing yards this year, 29 touchdowns. He was the MVP of the district. I mean, this guy, you know, he's got some stuff to him. All right, Hunter Harris. He got him a haircut in this picture. When we started recruiting him, he had the greatest mullet you've ever seen in your life. I mean, this thing was long, and he is the definition of country boy. He's got him a big old pickup truck. Got a great family. Really, really good kid, and a good player for us. Plays for Aledo High School, who is one of the more successful teams in the Dallas-Fort Worth area in the 5A region. He was an all-district guy. He earned academic all-state, second team. Unfortunately, his season was cut a little bit short there at the end. He tore his ACL, but he's already on the mend, and he'll be back. He's one of the hardest working guys that I've seen around so far. Great kid, comes from a great program. Tim Buchanan is the AD there, longtime head coach. Those guys know what they're doing, man. They will come off the ball and hit you in the mouth. There's no doubt about that. You'll see him playing a lot of tackle here. He'll probably play some guard and center for us, but he is athletic enough to be able to set the edge if we need him to play tackle. Very versatile guy. Not the 6'5" guy, but as you can see, he will roll his hips once he gets into you. He's not a waist bender guy. He will roll his hips and be able to get after you, and you can see him kind of uncoil as he gets into people. He's got a little nasty streak to him at the end that you kind of like to see with old linemen. All right, Khalil Herbert. Khalil's really a guy that we really have had our eye on for a while, and he's at a high school that, man, everybody's recruiting. You know, American Heritage down there in Florida. Reggie Mitchell, once again, working his magic with his ties down there. This kid is a really good talent, and for us to be able to go and make some inroads in American Heritage, that was big. I think Reggie and Kenny Perry did a tremendous job, both those guys down there with some context that we have down in that region were very, very helpful for us with regard to landing this kid. He's a very talented guy, had a lot of offers, and came up on a visit. Kid fell in love with it. We love him and his family. They are just wonderful folks, so we're excited about him joining our program. Rated, you know, pretty highly, probably underrated. The guy's a really good player. For you to be first team all Broward County is that's not very easy. That's hard to do. That's like all state in a lot of places. Second team all day, that's pretty good if you're going to do that down there. One of the top players in Miami's area. I mean, this guy can play. There's no doubt about it. He can run. He's got power. Just first play shows how strong this guy is on the lower body. You know, you're going to have to tackle this guy. I mean, that's one of the things that we wanted. We wanted a short yardage guy that had big yardage speed. I mean, this guy can do that. He's got a burst to him. He's got good vision. And when he chooses to take off, he can do it. He can make cuts on dimes, which is good. We want to be able to see a guy that can turn pretty quickly with minimal amount of steps, and he's a guy that can do it. He plays at the highest level down there in Florida. So when he's snapping the ball, he's doing it against real guys. And that's important for us when we're looking at certain positions, particularly at running back. He's got a nice, good, smooth flow to him as he takes that handoff, which is not easy. He's got some good patience, good vision, and really understands when to explode. All right, Isi Holani. All right, Isi Holani is a guy that's originally from Hilo, Hawaii. He's out of Riverside City College. He is a junior college transfer. Man, really excited about this guy being here. 6'3", 300. 300 is being very, very kind. He's probably closer to 330 right now. He is a big guy, but he is one of those A-gap guys that we've been looking for. A nose, a guy that can really handle A-gaps for us in our four-down stuff. This guy can really do that with the type of weight and strength he has. It's been fun watching him work out over the last couple of weeks since we've been on the road. Him and DeIsaac have been they've been fun to watch. You don't see a lot of those big guys come in shape enough to do what they've done. So I've been impressed with these guys. This guy was, a pretty highly recruited guy out of River City College. Really wasn't a very easy get. We had to work our tails off to get him, but once he came here, the KU folks took over, man, and he fell in love with it. So it was definitely a group effort to get that done. Really, really talented guy. This guy's got some real strength to him. Drawing on some of our old KU ties with Chris Mamalonga out there in California, helping us kind of identify some guys. So that one played pretty good. I think he's over here on this wall somewhere underneath this. So he knows defensive linemen. He can help us with that. And he's one turned us into Issy. You like to see guys do things like this down by the goal line to disrupt, get off blocks, and be able to create negative yardage plays down there by the goal line. You like the energy he carries. He can't be a guy that doesn't have a motor. He does have that motor, which is something that you look for in a guy that carries 330 pounds, because I don't know how much of a motor I'd have with 330 pounds, but he's got some. All right, Chris Hughes. All right, this is another guy that's out down in the central part of Texas. He's in Harker Heights down there in Killeen. This kid comes from a long line of football players. His older brother is about 6'8", 325. Originally signed and played at Texas, and now he's at Texas A&M Commerce, I believe. And his second oldest brother is the defensive end at Texas, who we had to line up against this year, who is a talented guy, really talented guy. He's the third of four babies that this family has. This mom, they have a separate refrigerator for just milk for all these kids. It was unbelievable. And she cooked up something like, it was unbelievable, that dinner that we had. But I told her, let me help you with that grocery bill just a little bit, because these cats are humongous men. Dad's a big dude, but just super people. Great kid, very academic-oriented family, very, very good football player. Unfortunately, he didn't get to play at all this year. He tore his knee up at the Longhorn camp. So it knocked the Longhorns off the line, and then here we come sliding in. But this kid's a really, really good player. 6'5", 275, 280 pounds right now. He's a little bit bigger than that 260. He's going to be a guy that should grow into a really good player for us, just like those other guys. We kind of like them at that 260, 250 range, so we can put the weight on them the way we want to. Talented guy. Most of this stuff is going to come from his junior year, but you can see how well this guy moves, how well he bends for a guy that's that big. When you have to wrestle for food, I think that helps your game. I think he has to wrestle at the house to get food, because, man, those cats are huge, big old boys, large athletic family. I offered his dad a scholarship, but he said he's out of eligibility. He is a good-looking dude. Great-looking family and just great people. All right, Lucas Jacobs is a guy that's out of West Virginia. His dad's actually a Division I volleyball coach, and very competitive family. We had this guy in not too long ago. He came up just to check the place out. Very good-looking guy. We think this guy is another guy that, with some time and some development, can be a guy that can really help us. He is a guy that can do really a little bit of everything. He can play at center, guard, tackle. He can do a lot of different things. Gives us some versatility there. And I think he can get to be a really strong guy. He's got some upside to him. We're excited about Lucas being here. It's going to be a good deal for him and a good deal for us. Mekhi Long. Mekhi's out of North Shore High School. He is at the same school that Dorrance Armstrong came from. This kid was actually the 6'5" Division I state champion, but he was the MVP of that game. He plays quarterback for him. He's coming to us as a linebacker. He's 6'2", 230. I don't know really how much he weighs, to be honest with you. He's already a good-looking, put-together guy. But this guy was the MVP at the highest level of high school football in the state of Texas. And I know I'm kind of dramatic about that because I'm from Texas high school football, but that's hard to do, y'all. That is difficult to do. To be the MVP in that game is not easy. And for him to do what he did, which is to lead that team to the 6'5" state championship in the highest classification, there's something about that dude, particularly when they go and they beat Austin Westlake, who is a storied program with a lot of tradition. Nobody gave them a chance, and they won that game, and a lot of it was due to him and his leadership. Guy's probably underrated, had all kind of offers, tons and tons of offers, chose us, stayed with us, helped this class from the beginning to the end. So impressed with this guy. This guy could be one of the great leaders to help develop our program from this point moving forward. Really like this guy. We're going to use him at linebacker, but don't be surprised if we don't put him back there and let him do some of the same stuff you're going to see him do on tape here. You kind of got you a built-in short yardage scheme there already with a guy that weighs 230 to 250 pounds. I won't give him up. I think he's somewhere between 230 and 250. He is a good-looking kid and can run for a kid that size. His dad, Jesse, great guy, man, comes from a great family. All that kind of stuff has been really important for us as we begin to recruit this class moving forward. This guy does a lot of things for his team. I think the one thing that really stood out to me was just his leadership as you watch him down there on the sideline. All right, another guy, one of the guys that really, this guy could have went a lot of different places, and people did not give up to the very end. And he stuck with us because he sees the vision and he believes in it. Love this kid. Love his mentality. Love his personality. He'll be one of the leaders in this group, there's no doubt. Really athletic guy out of Booker T. This guy right here is a first-team All-State guy, 6A East All-Star Honors, Oklahoma Coaches Association. This guy's been very decorated in the state of Oklahoma. State of Oklahoma's been very good to us. I know he knows Chris Harris pretty well. Somehow, those guys are from the same state, but this kid's going to be a really good one for us. We're excited about having Kyle Mayberry on our team. Great family. Loved to go up and see his mom and his dad. His mom cooked up some great food. We had a great time there hanging out with that family as well. This kid can do a lot of things for you, not just play DB. He's a return guy. He's a punt return specialist, a guy that can do some things for you there. But the one thing I really like him for is this guy can lock you down in coverage. It allows you to do some things in man coverage and get some pressure on some teams by getting after the quarterback. He's got good instincts. He has a great understanding of the game. I think his football intelligence is something that really stuck out to me. And after you get to know his family, you know why. All these families, the Hunter Harris's family, Hank and Mary, we've got so many families here that we became great friends with that really make this class special to us. He can kind of run. All right, Ian Peterson. He was here this week with his family. DJ and Stacy, unbelievable folks, came up here this weekend. Really got to know them well. Very special talent. Central Texas down there, Cedar Ridge High School. Todd Ford was the head coach, very good friend of ours. Actually just left to take the Lovejoy job up in Dallas. Really talented guy. This guy has been committed to us for a long, long time. I know that there was a bunch of Big 12 teams that were calling him as he was on his way up here to our visit last week, and he held strong with us. Another guy in this class that I'm very proud of. All these guys had lots of opportunities to go to other places, and that's how we know we're on the right guys. It's not just guys that, this is the place they had. These guys all had opportunities to go to other places, and they see the vision, and they want to be a part of it together. He can do a lot of things for us as well. The guy can really run. He returns kicks for them. He's got some instincts about him. When he gets out, he can take off. All these guys have something in common in that skill position. They can all run, trying to improve that overall team speed. Very important for us. Documented track times for these guys was important for us. The fact that they will play other sports and compete were important for us. The fact that they love football was extremely important for us. Put a lot of time in making sure that we knew what we needed to know about these guys. All right, Stephon Robinson. Stephon is a junior college guy that is actually a qualifier. He is a 3-year guy. He's not just a 2-year guy. He is a qualifier out of high school, played 1 year at Northeastern Oklahoma. So we've got this guy. He's kind of like a guy that's coming in with a red shirt. You know what I'm saying? He's got some experience. He's not a true high school guy, but he gives you more than 2 years. All right? This guy's a long, good-looking, quick, athletic, change-of-direction guy. Another guy with a great set of parents. We had a great time with those guys as we were going through the recruiting process. Really talented guys. This guy plays both ways. He plays receiver and he plays DB. He's going to play DB for us and play corner. But he's already here. Coach Jackson's already given me some great returns on this guy and how competitive and tough he is. Those are things that we like to see. All right, this play, he doesn't even get the ball, but you like to see this right there. So I was thinking he was on defense when I first saw that tape. It took me a second to realize he was on offense. He's just got some instinct to him. So he can do some things for us returning the ball as well, just like these other guys can. We think he's got kind of the top end speed that you're looking for. He's long. He can cover a lot of ground. I love watching him in coverage because the guy's got some instincts. He's got some ability to make up at times. Goes up and catches the ball in his hands at the offensive side, which tells me on the defensive side he's going to attack the ball at the highest point. He's got instincts. You know, he's playing a thirds corner there, and he comes off, makes a play in the middle of the field. All right, Tyreek Starks. Man, love this kid. Miss Angela, his mom, his whole family down there. We went into his house. There's probably 20 people in there, man. We had a blast. A good old family reunion right down there in New Orleans. A good buddy of mine, Tony Hull, called me about this guy. Great-looking kid, 6'2", 188-pound kid. And I know I'm long-winded today, but I like these guys. This guy, one of the most impressive things I loved about this guy, we go into his bedroom, and he's got a cardboard Coke box that he's kind of torn off. And on his wall in his little bedroom is all his team goals. Nothing about him, all about his team. Impressive kid, and really impressive kid. Every time we communicated, it was always something about the team. It was never about him. Love that guy's mentality. This guy's extremely talented. He sat behind a kid that we call Lefty. We signed at A&M last year. He was Mr. Football in Louisiana. Played there for 3 years at Warren Easton. And this kid could have left. He could have started for anybody in the New Orleans area. But he didn't. He stayed. Played little receiver. He stayed. All that kid did was pass for 4,400 yards this year, 44 touchdowns, ran for 11 touchdowns. The only quarterback in Warren Easton history to beat Edna Carr, who is a very decorated program down there. They got beaten state semifinals by Neville, who eventually won the state championship that year. This kid's talented now, very talented. He just didn't play except for his senior year, which is how a guy like this kind of sometimes goes under the radar. Man, I am so fired up about Tyreek Starks. This is a really, really good player. We weren't necessarily looking for a QB, but he's one that we really, really think could help us. And it's going to improve our room. We're going to be a lot more competitive in that room with Tyreek stepping in that room. So it's going to help us moving forward. There's no doubt about that. This guy's got speed, quickness, and intelligence. You know, he can do some things with the ball in his hands that, you know, a lot of people can't do because he's got great speed. He's a good 6'2"-ish, and once he gets eating our training table, I could see this guy being 200, 215 pounds and being hard to keep him there because he could get a lot bigger than that. But we'll want to keep him there. He can flick this thing with very little technique, 55 yards in the air, but he's very accurate. I mean, you don't throw for 4,400 yards and not be able to be an accurate guy. Very talented guy. Very talented guy. I really like this kid for more than just what you see on tape. It's what you see when you get to meet him and talk to him that really impresses you. All right, next guy, local guy. I'm really excited about having this guy on board. Bryce Tornaden, Free State High School. Been watching this guy play for a couple years now, 3 years actually. This guy's a talented dude, as you guys all know. You guys all have been around him and you've seen him. Man, it's exciting to have a local talent like this guy join the Jayhawks. One of the more decorated guys that we have on our board. Very talented, can do a lot of different things for us. We're going to start him out on the defensive side and let him do some things defensively for us because he's a very, very talented safety. He's big enough to make tackles, and he's fast enough and quick enough to cover people in space. So he's a guy to me that sticks out as a weak safety type guy that can make a lot of tackles for you, and he's big enough to be able to hold up in the Big 12. If you look at that tape, that tape, it's a little bit backwards. Normally you see guys and you think that they're bigger, and then you get them in person and they're not that big. Bryce he's bigger than this. He's put together. He's got some weight on him. This dude weighs 185, 190 pounds. He's all of 5'10". He's a long, good-looking guy. You look at that tape, for some reason, he doesn't look like that on tape. Maybe it's number one. I don't know. But he is a good-looking, tall, fast guy who I think already possesses the weight to be able to tackle guys in the Big 12. Those guys got to make tackles. Fish led the country in tackles last year, and he's beat up. I mean, but he's got a big enough body to be able to survive the season doing that. Bryce has got that type of body. Fish has got one more year with us, and then after that, you know, we've got to have another guy that can fit that mold, and Bryce is a great one that we feel like can really fit that mold. So that's all of our new additions. So with that being said, Katie, we have time for a couple of questions. Okay, let's take it away. Hey, listen, I'm glad that our first team rider is safe, and it looks like he's going to be back off the IR here pretty soon from the knee injury. Matt, you good, right?
Yeah. There's no truth that it was glassy.
That's right. Mike wasn't involved in it. It's good to have you healthy. At least with no surgery, we're good. He'll be back in a couple of weeks on the field. That's our injury report for the day.
How important was it to break the JUCO cycle in general and in O-line in particular? You only had 2.5 JUCOs if you count Robinson as a half.
Yeah, I think it was huge because it's about development. You know, it's hard to develop guys when you only have them for a year or two. And you know what that takes? Honestly, that takes commitment from your administration and really from your university. You know, when we got here, we talked to them about, you know, what it was going to take to get it done. And what it's going to take to get it done is time. You don't get stuff for free. It don't come overnight. It takes time. And developing guys takes time. So, you know, we talked about it a long time ago. We're not going to cut corners. And cutting corners is trying to get rich quick. And we're not trying to do that. We will get there in the right amount of time when we get it the right way. And we've got to be able to develop people, and that's how you do it. You do it by getting 4-year players. One of my good buddies, David Bailiff, used to always say, hey, man, you win with senior classes that you've had for 4 years. And if you look what they did there, I mean, after he had his class for 4 years, they won 10 games. I mean, I think there's something to that. You had them in your possession for 4 years. So we're going into our second year, which I'm excited about, and I think that's huge to break that cycle.
And Dagan Haynes said the Denton newspaper made him their comeback player of the year. So is this his second injury?
Second injury. He had another knee injury in the previous year and came back and did all he did. Man, that poor kid, he made it all the way through the entire year, and literally the last quarter of his season this year tore his ACL again. And like I said, just kept playing, you know. Somehow he made it through that game. They almost won the thing.
Is it the same knee or different knee?
Different knee. Other side. Keaton Perry type deal. Except Keaton did his right, his left, and then his right again.
You talked about the challenges with the numbers. David, what are the challenges when you go out there? And I know some of the guys you got from last year, but what are some of the challenges when you have limited numbers?
You know, I think we've talked about it a bunch. It's just, you know, in terms of where we were at roster-wise, scholarship-wise, the challenge is making up those numbers the right way as fast as you can. And you just got to be creative in the way that you do it. You know, you got to work closely with your administration and closely with the compliance and making sure that you do things properly, but try to do the best you can to make sure that you're getting true Division I talent in there to help you play games. You know, and my hat's off to that whole group, because had we not had some of those things come to fruition last year, man, you know, it could have been a lot tougher, really, to be honest with you.
What's it say about your staff or even your class when some of these schools, especially Big 12 schools, come in on your guys late and you're able to hold on to them? I mean, does that give an extra dose of confidence that, hey, we got the right guys? Or?
Yeah, I definitely think it does. I mean, we want to be recruiting, not signing, and we talk about that all the time. I mean, there's a difference in those two, and that requires everybody to check their ego at the door. And we don't keep numbers. We recruited this class. Every single guy on our staff recruited Issy Hoalani. Every single guy on our staff recruited Khalil Hebert. Every single guy. There will be no one person gets credit for that, because that's not how it worked. Somebody may have saw him first, but we all do it together. And for us to be able to get this thing done, it's not going to be about bolstering somebody's numbers in recruiting. I mean, you can do that, but I mean, that's not true. That's not how it gets done. It's a holistic approach. And for us to be able to get things done, I think one of the things that we heard the most from parents was how they got to know our entire staff. That at every turn, they got to meet Zach Yenzer. They got to meet Kenny Perry. They got to meet Todd Bradford. They got to meet Jason Phillips. They got to meet Reggie Mitchell, that they knew every one of us when they left. And we talked about it being a family, and I think we lived it while they were here, and our coaches do the same thing while they're here on campus.
Now that you're getting these types of guys that, you know, you want Big 12 caliber types of guys that can hold up there, does it change at all for you? I mean, look at last year's class and how you talked a lot about, you know, we don't know what we're going to do. We're not going to set a certain number aside that we'll redshirt for sure or anything like that. When you look at development, do you do different things when you move forward? Like, does this class have more target on developing guys because it's a little deeper roster this year, or do you even think about that?
Well, the answer is yes and no. It just depends on, our goal is to always, and we tell our kids this, we're going to try to go out there and find somebody better than you. And we're going to try to get your room competitive. So, but we tell them all the time that should never happen because you have an advantage. You're here, you already know everything, you've got an advantage. If you get beat out, that's your fault. It's not going to be just talent. It's going to be the fact that you just didn't do enough. So, with that being said, we tell them that, I play favorites. My favorites are the best players, period. I mean, that's it. And it doesn't have anything to do with whether I like their high school coach or where they come from. It has everything to do with who works the hardest and can help us win and we trust the most. So, in terms of redshirting, anymore, man, guys are leaving. I mean, they're leaving after 3 years, and I'm not, people are all over the place. Hey, man, that only happens at Florida State. No, it doesn't. I mean, that happens everywhere. I mean, you need to make sure that you're utilizing these guys whenever they can help you. I mean, 85 sounds like a lot. We're not even at 85, so you got to use every single one of them because it's a very, very physical sport. Even when you're at 85, it doesn't feel like it's enough. It just doesn't. It's too physical.
With the two quarterbacks and then you got Willis and Stanley, two young guys, would you anticipate Cozart moving to another position, and how many years does he have left?
He's got a couple years left, I think. Some of that stuff is still yet to be filed. We'll figure out how all that goes, but I'm anticipating he's still got 2 years left. I don't know that for sure, but I'm pretty sure that that's going to work out that way. But no, I mean, I don't have any plans on moving anybody right now. We are going to be in a continual evaluation phase here. But the good news is, I mean, most of those guys are athletic enough to do anything they can. If they're good enough players to help us, they're not going to be standing by me.
David, you guys did the big Kansas blast. You talked about in-state recruiting. I guess right or wrong, a lot of people look at this and say, you got one high school kid. Can you just give me your take on in-state recruiting for you guys this year?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I think it wasn't for a lack of trying, Once again, when we came here last year, we talked about earning it and earning it one fan at a time. And we've put our foot forward and we continue to do that. One high school coach at a time, and we continue to do that. Our Kansas blast was well documented, and we continue to do it. We've built relationships with guys in our own community, all throughout the state of Kansas, and we've had great feedback from that. But that only continues to build when you feed into it and you continue to make them true relationships. So we'll continue to do that. However, the last piece was one player at a time, one recruit at a time. Listen, we're trying to win the Big 12. So you can't do that with just signing guys that are from a certain place. You got to go sign Big 12 football players. And we are working diligently to get that done here in our own state. It'll be really interesting to go back and look today when you're done and see how many guys in the state of Kansas signed Division I scholarships and where they went. See where they went. And I think that the deal is we've got to earn their services to want to stay here. And we worked our tails off at it with a bunch of guys in state. And you know what? Didn't work out. But I'll tell you this, we were in it with a lot of guys. I think we made guys take pause and think that probably normally wouldn't have, which is that's a step forward. That's a step forward, particularly given, the challenges that we had last year. I'm proud of our staff because we were right there with some guys that I'm not sure many people thought we'd be right there with, given our situation last year record-wise. But I think people see that it was more than that. And with that being said, I mean, the cycle starts over. We start earning it again, one recruit at a time, right here in the state of Kansas, and that will be our priority. Every single one of those guys that you saw go to other places, and then some, we were talking to, and we were recruiting. And I can't speak about them specifically, but we were on them. We just gotta prove to them that it's worth staying at your university, because this is their university, and there'll be a time where they're going to want to do that, and hopefully that's really soon.
We'll take two more questions.
Hey, David, you've got ties in Louisiana, and Kenny Perry's been there, and J.C. Phillips now. Is that an area? Is that a state you might start getting more into?
Yeah, you know, I think I left my TV a while ago, and I don't know if it's still that way, but I think I saw LSU had the #1 ranked signing class in the country. A lot of those guys were right out of that state right there. I mean, that state produces per capita some of the highest numbers of Division I athletes right there. In terms of per capita, that is a really fertile place. It really is. We've got some ties down there from our recruiting times at our other schools. You know, Jason at SMU, Jason at Houston, Kenny Perry at TCU, myself at A&M. Did a lot of work down there in the New Orleans area. And calling on those relationships is something we'll continue to do. We'll do it all over the country. I loved what Brandon Snyder said at his press conference last year. We will recruit the planet. We're going to have a Kansas identity, but we're going to recruit the planet. I love what he said, to go find the right ones to hoist those trophies and see that confetti drop on us, because that's the goal, and we will get there.
Coach, maybe this is just an outsider's way of looking at things, but is there anything about today that kind of represents everything, the challenges of last year are just officially done today, kind of officially starts the next season, a fresh start for everything kicking off? Is there any sense of that around here?
Yeah, it does, and I appreciate that. That's a great perspective because, you know, I think I said it just a few minutes ago. Man, we're excited because March 7th we're about to start spring ball, and we're about to be able to get back working with our guys. That's exciting. That's exciting, and we never want it to be that long again that we went from being able to work with them to not being able to work with them and getting to work with them again, because that means you're playing in bowl games. So that was a big lesson for us. This has been too long apart. All right, and then the next thing is we got our spring game on April the 9th, I believe, and that's going to be a big day for us here to have a bunch of these guys that just joined our program back up to be around us and for people to get to see them. But, yeah, I think it kind of marks, you know, it's been a year now since I've stood in front of you guys talking about that last class. And here's the great thing about that last class, this class, is that a lot of this class right here has already played football for the Kansas Jayhawks, and they have already gotten playing time behind them. And they have already established themselves in the future of Kansas football. And that is probably the most exciting thing. If you look at just this, you'll miss it. But you guys are smart. Don't look at just this. Look at them other ones that have already played a bunch of snaps for us. Man, I'm excited about this class. Not only because of these guys, but some of them other guys that are a part of this class. They got a lot of football under their belt. Last year we had 3 dudes that had played college football when we stepped on the field. So I'm excited about that moving forward. So it's going to be fun. We're excited to work with those guys.
All right, thank you, everyone.
All right, thanks, guys. Appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good one. I'm going to finish this last interview, and I'm going to go take a nap for about 3 days. Have a good one.